Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Izam. So I was recently inspired by this artist and she made this artwork and I think it's very good. So I'm going to show you how to do this using Vectornator X. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so let's begin by creating a new canvas. I will choose A5. So the first thing that we need to do is to create those scales. So to do that, let's switch to this, a circle, or what we call an ellipse. So now we have a circle here. The next thing that we need to do is to cut it in half. So as you can see, this is the midpoint over here. So what we can do is tap on here. Make sure you tap on the scissors tool. Tap here, the first point, and the second one, and it's cut. That's it. So now we can begin to delete this, okay, and just have this as the remaining path. So right now the fill is, there's no fill, okay, let's leave it as no fill. The stroke is black in color, stroke width is 1. So let's begin by duplicating it. So to do this, all we need to do is just press here using the pointer tool and tapping on duplicate button. Just drag, place one finger on screen to constrain like that. That's it. Now let's do this a couple of times. Constrain using one finger on the screen and drag. Now we have 4, right? Let's turn off this duplicate option and select all of them. Now do you see that there are gaps here? This gap is bigger than this gap, and this gap is similar to this gap. So we need to have them equal distant from each other. So to do that, let's move to this particular arrange panel and then we set the distribution. Now it is equidistant. If you see, the gap and this gap is the same as this gap. So let's continue. We are going to resize this, so make sure that none of these options are turned on. I'm just going to resize, place one finger to constrain the resizing. Okay, make it smaller, and let's continue to duplicate it. Turn on the duplicate option, and I'm going to drag, place one finger on screen to constrain the movement and put it over here. Alright, so just to be safe, let's select all of them, turn off the duplicate button, and let's distribute it. Okay, now it's equidistant. So what we can do now is group them together. Go to arrange and press the group button. We have a little G down here. We can now duplicate this. Alright, so just make a copy and paste. So let's have a look. Do we have a copy of it? Yes, we do. So now just bring it down, constrain, but I think we are going to put it over here diagonally. Okay, constrain, but move it diagonally downwards like that, such that the top on the second one, it touches the bottom of the first one. We have two groups here. All we need to do is just duplicate further. Alright, so here just press on the duplicate button and bring it down like that. So now we have these scales done. What we can do now is duplicate this, because we're going to use this for the scales on the fish as well as the background. Okay, so let's duplicate this layer. For this, just type in scales and we're going to turn this off. I'm going to lock it. Now let's just play around with this. Type fish scales. Now this, we are going to use it on the fish. So get your selector tool and we're going to decrease this in size and turn this thing around like that. Now let's have a new layer. Let's lock the fish scale layer so that we don't accidentally touch it. This layer, we're gonna type fish body. To do the fish body, let's create a circle, a perfect circle like that. Now note that there is a midpoint here, right? What we need to do now is we're gonna use this rectangle to cut into this circle, just such that we only use this. We're just gonna eyeball this thing. We just need a quarter of this circle. You don't have to be precise. So now select both of this and let's go into this path panel. We're going to cut it, so here, use this. Okay, and what we have here is the body of the fish, but we're not done yet. Let's create a rectangle to cut into this shape to represent the mouth. For this, let's draw a square. Okay, use one finger to restrict, to constrain the movement, and to draw a square. Now switch to the selector tool and I'm going to rotate, something like this. Okay, now I'm going to rotate further like that. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see, like this. Let's select both of this and let's cut. There it is. So this will be the shape of the mouth, and we're done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have these scales to be put inside the fish. So I'm going to unlock the fish scale, select all of them. I'm going to resize it a bit smaller and just place it over here. We're going to change the color. For the color, let's switch the color to this light color. This particular color is this, okay, if in case you want to follow. So now that we have changed it, and for this, the body of the fish, we're not going to have any strokes, so turn off the stroke, but we need the fill. But I think it is best that we do a gradient fill for the fish body. So the top color will be using this, okay, and the bottom color will be using this. We need to mask it, right? To mask this scale inside the fish body, make sure that the fish body is on top, the top layer. So now let's tap on mask, and there we are. That's it. We have the fish scale on the body. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create, let's check the fish body. So now everything is on the fish body layer. The fish scales layer is now empty. There's nothing there. So let's leave it for the moment. We're going to have another layer and we are going to call it the eyes. So tap on the layer 1, fish eyes. For the fish eyes, let's create a circle. Select the circle, the ellipse button. For the fish eyes, let's select this color. It's going to be not a gradient but a fill, and it's going to be this color, and this is the code. Alright, so we're going to place this. Make sure you select the pointer tool and let's resize it like that. Now we're going to duplicate this circle. So to do that, tap on the duplicate, and we're also going to resize it smaller. So to do that, just make sure you have the duplicate and the resize button turned on. And let's resize it something like this. For this, we're not going to have the fill, right? So turn off the fill but turn on the stroke. And for the stroke color, let's make it black. It's a bit thick, so we might need to change the stroke width, so maybe 0.5. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is we're going to have a dash, so set it to 1, and maybe this one is 3 and this one is 1. Okay, something like this, or maybe this one is 3 and this one will be 1. Okay, something like that. So the next thing we need to do is, again, we are going to duplicate it again. Oops, sorry. Do not place one finger, otherwise it will not constrain. And this time, let's make it a bit smaller, much smaller. We're not going to have the stroke, but we do have the fill. We're going to set it to black. Turn off the duplicate, turn off the resize, and we're done. So the next thing we need to do is we need to group this. So select and group. Do you realize that when I do this, I'm selecting the body as well? So make sure that you lock the body. We're not going to use the body at the moment. Alright, so we have the eyes. We're going to group the eyes. So use this arrange panel and tap on group. Next, we're going to draw a line. So get your pen tool and tap here and tap here. Just roughly a straight line. Now, again, we're going to use a dashed line. No fill, but we do have a stroke. But this stroke will be some light color like the scale. So let's set the color to this. And now we have the strokes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have the fins. It's best that we have it on a new layer. Tap on this and let's just lock the eyes for the moment and the fish scale. For this, let's type in fins, maybe just one. We're going to draw one fin. Let's do it. Let's constrain, press one finger on the screen and drag. Let's set the fill color to this color, the light color. Okay, or this. I think this will do. Closer to white. Okay, and that's done. But we don't need the stroke, so turn off the stroke. Next, we need to cut using the rectangle. So just eyeball it. Okay, we can't see it, so turn off the fill and turn on the stroke. I'm just going to set it to black so that we can see. Okay, so let's undo that. Make sure you press the selector tool, the arrow tool. Okay, so this is the midpoint, so I think we need to move the rectangle lower to get somewhat of a quarter circle. We're going to cut into the circle. So select both, go to path, and then tap on this. Cut it. Great. So now we have this quarter circle. We're done. We're going to have some lines across the fin. Let's create a rectangle, something like this. Alright, so for this rectangle, we're going to just turn off the fill, turn this off, but we're turning on the stroke. For the stroke, I don't want to have any dash, so let it be 0, 0, 0. So what we need to do is tap on the selector tool and tap on duplicate and drag to resize it. 1. Select this one again. 2. Select this, the main one again. 3. And last one, 4. Alright, now turn off the duplicate. Now we have these lines. In case you are not having it equidistant, remember, all you need to do is select all of this, tap on Arrange, and tap on Align to the bottom. Is make sure that the lines are thin. Go to Stroke, and I'm going to make it 0.25. Let's see how thin it is. Okay, I think this is good. Now we are going to place this lines, but before that I think I'm going to resize it smaller, something like that. So the lines, these lines will be in the fins. So to do that we need to mask, and to do that we have to make sure this curve over here is on top, and drag it all the way up. Now it's on top. Now we can select all of this and press mask, and there it is. So this is done. We have the fin ready for the fish. So just rotate and drag it over here. I think I'm gonna make it a bit bigger and rotate it slightly to the left like that. But the fin, I need it to be behind the body. Drag this fin and put it below the fish body layer. I think I'm gonna move this, okay? Just move it slightly to the back. And I think I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. Okay, unlock the fish body layer. Also unlock the fish eyes. Okay, and select all, and let's group them. And let's see what happens. So all of them are here. So all these are just empty layers. You can actually delete them, and I'm going to delete them now. Delete and delete. All of them are all here. It's all in this group. I'm going to rename this as fish. So we have one fish ready. Let's create the sardine can. For the moment, let's turn off this fish so that we can concentrate on our can. So create a new layer, tapping here, and now we have this layer. Just change the name to tin can. Use this rectangle tool and just draw like that, a rectangle. And this rectangle will have a rounded corner. So let's have a fill for it so that we can see. For this fill, I'm going to set the color to this. Make it a rounded corner rectangle, something like this. Not too much, just maybe let's make it 20. We are going to have a copy of this, so change this to the selector tool, the pointer tool, tap on the duplicate button, and then tap on the resize button and drag like that. Turn off the resize, turn off the duplicate, change the fill. Let's change the fill to a dark color, and this dark color is this. This is the value for the hexadecimal code. Now for this we need to drag this, because if you see right now we have this stroke and we don't want the stroke. Make sure you turn off the stroke for this one as well. For this, do you see that top and bottom distance is the same, but it is not the same as this one. This gap and this gap is different. So let's try our best to drag this over here and drag this over here. Select all of this, go to Arrange, and then let's align them center, and we're done. Now this is the inside of the tin can. Now let's see how it looks like with the fish on. So let's put this tin can below so that we can see the fish. Great. Now everything looks good so far. Let's duplicate this fish. So I'm going to use the selector tool, press the duplicate button, and just drag it downwards like that. Okay, just select this and drag down. You have to turn off the duplicate, right? Now select all these three fishes by swiping the layers to the right. And I'm going to resize it, make it bigger. Place one finger to constrain and I'm just gonna put it over here, and that's it. I know that the fish is not occupying the whole can, but that's okay because we're gonna hide it. This gives the impression that the fish is much longer than what it is. Okay, now let's just turn off this fish for a while. We have the tin can now. What we're going to do is we're going to draw the cover. We need to copy this. Just press here, copy. Let's make a new layer and type in cover. Make sure that you lock the tin can layer so that we don't disturb it later. Now make sure that you are having this layer selected. So make sure you have this layer selected. Press here and you will have this paste button over here. Just tap on that and we will have this. So for this we need to cut. Okay, we're going to cut it. So let's use another rectangle to cut into this big rectangle. I'm going to draw here. Don't cut it in half, maybe cut it slightly to the right, less than half. Use the selector tool and tap on this so that we can select this and this together. Now turn this off. We're going to cut it. Tap here. Let's duplicate this. Alright, press the duplicate option and we're also going to resize it, make it smaller. So let's begin. Smaller, something like this. Turn this off and turn this off. Let's have a look. We are going to make it a different color. It's going to be a little bit darker. Maybe this color will do fine. Maybe slightly lighter, something like this. So this is the code in case you want to copy it, use it. Alright, so this is done. The next thing we're going to do is, again, we're going to duplicate this. Press the duplicate option, press the resize, and let's resize it again. We are going to change the color back to this. Okay, same as the outer one. The next thing that we're going to do is, again, we're going to duplicate and resize it, but this time inside, smaller, like that. Turn this off, and let's bring this. Okay, I'm going to select this, tap on this, the multiple selection, make sure these 2 points are selected. I'm going to move it. Press one finger on the screen and move this side, because if we don't do that, we keep on resizing it, we're going to end up with this line being here and here and here, and we do not wish to have that. Okay, we need to create the impression that this whole thing is like that. Alright, you'll see what I mean once we're done with this. Okay, now back to the selector tool, the first pointer tool. We're going to change the color. We're not going to have any fill, so turn off the fill. Now turn on the stroke. For this stroke, no dash. Okay, make sure you set it to 0, all to 0. Great. So the stroke width will be a bit thicker, something like this. So let's begin by duplicating it again and resizing it again. And one. Okay, and another one. Alright, turn this off and turn this off. If you've gotten this far, congratulations for your patience. Okay, so now we're going to have another layer. So make sure you lock this cover and let's create this new layer, rename it as roll. Okay, so for this roll, again, it's going to be a rectangle and we're going to draw it like this, something like this. So the bottom touches here, the bottom of the can, and it just sticks out like that. We need to have a fill. So turn this on, and the fill, okay, fill, yes, but no strokes. And for the fill, it has to be like this, a gradient, a linear gradient. And we'll be having a mid color. The mid color will be dark. Let's make the mid color dark, something like that. Over here on the left side will be light, and this side will be light as well. Take note of the hexadecimal codes if you need to. Okay, let's make sure that the center is dark, left and right is light. Next, we need to change the corner radius, make it fully rounded like that. Alright, I think it looks good. Next, we need to duplicate this. So tap on the duplicate button and resize it downwards like this, something of like a square. And let's just change the corner radius to full. Okay, so if you can see, this is actually not a square. To see this clearly, let's change the fill. We need to change the fill to an elliptical gradient. So for this, the center, there's going to be just 2 points. Okay, just drag this teardrop pointer downwards. This will be dark. Now will be good. Okay, so just move the center point over here. But I think the dark color is not dark enough, so I think black will be good. Something like that. Now, do you see that this particular shape is not a square? So you will have this kind of thing. So let's make it a square. And then just change the corner radius again. Something like that. So that it will look like a circle. And drag this gradient upwards like this. And we're done. But for this, let's change the color again. I think this is a bit too light. Okay, so let's make it a bit darker. Something like this. So that we can see that there is a difference of color from here to here. Now it will look like a rolled up tin cover. Let's make the handle have another rectangle, draw it like that. But in this case, the fill is not a gradient, just a regular block solid color, and change the color to this. Okay, this is the code. Remember, change it back to selector tool, place it over here. Next, we're going to have a circle. Let's create a circle. Change this to a circle like this. Let's draw, drag. This is the right color. Okay, let's select. Okay, use the pointer tool. We're going to duplicate this and resize it. Turn this off and turn this on. We're going to change the color to a dark one, something like that. We're going to resize it again like that. Okay, let's resize it. Okay, let's have a look at the layer. This is the roll. I'm going to lock this. I'm going to lock the tin can layer as well. Make sure all is locked. Okay, we have this inner roll. I'm just going to change the color so that you can see clearly. Okay, inner circle, this is the inner circle. We're going to punch this black circle, this dark circle, by using this one. So we need to select this and this. Okay, these two. We're going to punch it by using this boolean. Okay, so it's done. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, that's it, you see? Circle. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select this by swiping to the right. Use this path and tap here. Okay, now we have a ring. Okay, and you can see it's a ring now. You can see through the hole. I'm going to group them by using the arrange panel and group them. I'm going to place it over here, and I'm going to use these two things. I'm going to align them in the center. Again, I'm going to group them together. I'm going to place them over here let's check out the layers. This is the roll, right? So I'm going to use this for all these. We're going to align them center. So go back to the arrange and align them in the center. Okay, all looks good. Go back to the layers. Now make sure this is below the roll. Let's turn on the fish layer so that we can see. If you can see that the fish is actually coming out of the tin, and we don't want that. So what we can do is mask it with this dark rectangle behind. So to do that, we need to unlock this tin layer and get this rectangle, copy it, tap on copy, and then go back. Make sure you lock this tin layer, go back to the fish layer, unlock it so that we can paste it in. Okay, alright, so now we are in the fish layer. Do you see this? This is the paste button. Tap on it and we have this. Can you see that a bit of the fish is outside? So let's mask it. What we can do is have the rectangle at the top, select all of them. Let's see whether we can mask all of them together. Tap on here, the path, and mask, and there it is. All of them are masked together. So now what we can do is you can have fun with this. For the scales, you can actually use this scale. Let's lock this fish layer, turn on the scales. I'm going to select all of this, and you can use it as a background. Okay, as what you have seen, what I did in my completed artwork. Alright, so I hope you create your own style, your own design, and I hope you learn something from this. Alright, so that is done. I hope you like that video. It's a bit long, but I hope you can follow through. If you can't, just rewind it and then try again. Alright, so that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.